I want to introduce our final speaker today. Vonya Alleyne is the Chief People Officer, for Segra, and micro development as a manageable method for career growth is Vonya's passion. Let's welcome Vonya Alleyne.
Thank you, Susie, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. This has been just a phenomenal afternoon so far, and I'm really happy to be the closing speaker for today's event because it's going to tie very nicely back to what Mary Ann opened us up with around career growth and development. So I'll start my session by a quote, and I'm also going to end with a quote, and you'll get from the quotes kind of where I'm going with this. The quote that I'm going to start with is by famous author and podcaster Jim Quick, Kwik. He's really, really fascinating. Feel free to Google him and check out some of his material around learning. And the quote that he is known for is, "If knowledge is power, then learning is a superpower. If knowledge is power, then learning is a superpower." So I'm going to start off with micro development. I get asked, Vonya, what does that mean? What are you talking about? Like, just share, right? And so for those who may have a finance background, you may have heard the term micro development as it relates to economics. I am not that girl. I am not a finance or economics practitioner or major, but instead it's a term that I use to describe my approach towards learning, development, and growth. And I'm going to focus on the word micro specifically, also fitting that that's the topic on the closer because my presentation is going to be micro. So it's all going to come together. So what I mean by micro development is that's really taking learning, development, and career growth in bite-sized, digestible pieces. So what does that mean? What does that look like? For me, and this is my definition and how I approach self-development, it's simply making self-development a priority by keeping and maintaining small commitments to my development. And so my commitment is literally this simple. My commitment to learning and development is I commit to learning one new thing each and every day. It can be something in my profession, it could be something with my family, it could be something in the community, but that is my commitment. My micro development is I commit to learning one new thing each and every day. It is bite-sized, it is digestible, it is not daunting. So let me take you through what made me think about micro development. And really, I will focus on the approach in the business setting or the work environment as opposed to personal. So I've been in HR for over, I don't know, 3 decades, 30 some years, 35 years almost. And for years, I've heard employees tell me and leaders say, it's so hard for me to get my employees to complete a development plan. It's just one of the things I kind of have to force feed, or they just won't do it. They don't buy in, etc. And I've heard employees say, development plans are challenging, they're time consuming. I just, it's just not my thing. I'm too busy. Or I would hear things like, I don't know what my development plan should entail. So tactically, what should this look like? And so I said, well, there's got to be an easier way. It can't be hard and daunting for both the leader and employee. How can we make this easier and really one that employees can do day in and day out without it being too overwhelming? And so when I heard those comments, I really just took some time to process and think through the solution. And so my response is one of two things, generally speaking. First, making the time is really important. If you're not willing to make time for yourself, it's really hard to expect others to make time for you. So take that initiative to invest the time in yourself. And micro is an easy way to do it. And then second, I usually follow that up with, you are worth it. You are worth the time you're taking to invest in yourself. You're worth the time that your companies are investing in you. So start with yourself and others will follow as it relates to investing in your development. So with that as kind of the backdrop, the question then became for me, how do I practice micro development? What does that look like? So it's anchored in intentionality and purpose. So what I commit to is, again, learning something new every day, And that can be through a variety of things. I get bored, quite frankly, doing the same old, same old. So I look for diverse opportunities to learn. It could be as simple as reading a blog, listening to a podcast, reading a chapter in a book, talking with a mentor, doing a ride along with a colleague, working on a project, whatever. You can tell from just that short list, it can be something very, very small to something very big. Just kind of depends on again, your intention and your purpose. But what I like about the approach to micro development is there's no cookie cutter way to do this. There's no right or wrong. So if you want to learn something new every day, if that's the commitment that you make, that doesn't even have to be your commitment. But if that's the commitment that you make, pick up whatever it is that you want to learn and focus on it for today, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is that makes sense is very, very designed to be what you make it, right? It's what you put into it and what you make it. So with that being said, the question I then said, well, why do I practice this? What's in it for me? And so it goes back to some of the things that Mary Ann opened us up with the session around flourishing, setting yourself in a position to prosper and to grow. I have been asked many times throughout my career, what should I do? What have you done to grow your career? And so when I think about those questions and when I have those conversations, it's often routed in what I have taken, the steps I have invested in to commit and grow and challenge and develop myself. So everything that Mary Ann said was such a great precursor for some of the tactical applications that I just spoke about. So again, in the spirit of this being micro and in the spirit of smart brevity, I'm going to close with a quote as well. And this is from one of my most famous, well, not my most famous, but a famous leader that I'm really, really fond of, and I think has had a worldwide impact for many generations. And it's from Mahatma Gandhi. And what Mahatma Gandhi said was, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. And so with that, that closes just my micro speech on micro development. I hope that you found a couple of tidbits that you'll find helpful. If you haven't completed your development plan and would like a partner or someone to bounce some ideas off, I volunteer myself. I'm more than willing to help in that space. And here's and cheers to learning to all of you. Thank you.